Good morning, everybody. Before we get started, remember today's MT Live at 12 o'clock. Jan and I will be on the social media as well as join us in the room. I'll post the link in a little while. All right, so markets continued their bounce yesterday. They got past the first, these are futures, got past, that first set of, that first pivots right there. And we see they moved up overnight into the second set over there to the left, and they are retracing a little bit. Now, what do we do from here? Well, they're a little extended. Daily's in a downtrend. What do you look for? Well, you look for strength, of course, and we can do this, right? We'd look something like that, right? Let's say it's going to pull back. Two things. First of all, you can just look to the left, the minor support. There's overlapping bars right there. Of course you do. I'm pointing to them. This congestion area right there is where there's support. And so what we'd want to see as far as strength goes, any retracement would hold somewhere in this area, or it would go sideways. We look for red bar ignored, breakdown failures, creating support after a momentum move, such as the one that was seen. Just creates a void below. So I don't suspect anything is going to fall apart today. The significant news will be coming out tomorrow as far as economic reports. There's gasoline stuff coming out at 10:30. Be aware of that. Some stuff came out at 8:30. I guess that's caused this little dip there. Durable good orders were up a little bit more than anticipated, but I think these gasoline numbers may get the markets to jiggle a little bit, since there's this focus on inflation and the price of oil, which hasn't been doing anything. And we'll see how that all goes. We'll see where that is. You see the stall here, see the topping tails right there on the daily chart, lines up with those pivots. So yeah. What I would prefer would be, well, let's say one thing. One of the things I mentioned in the green room yesterday, someone asked about the internals. And so what I said was, hey, look, they're going in opposite directions, meaning sentiment was coming down. Finally, there was some bearish put buying, as it was coming down, it was like, hey, we kind of joke about that movie Back to the Future, the guy McFly, they bang on his head. It's like, hey, McFly, you see these bars? This thing's coming down. Don't be buying calls. And so that finally reversed, and here it is into the lower bands, and breadth has reached just above the zero line. And historically, just typical historically, you're saying coming up toward the zero line after a move down like this is one of the things to pay attention to, that the markets will reverse lower again. So in the coming days, we'll see what happens, but this would be ideal, to tell you the truth, if the markets would roll over here. Coming down here, and the pattern to look for would be a retest or a slightly lower low, and sentiment coming down here into this lower band, and this breadth internal coming down here, and it would make a higher low, right? Something to look for. You can watch this yourself and see how it plays out, but price pattern analysis using market internals, it's all about seeing what happened in the past and then seeing if that reproduces a same event to trade off of. So that isn't to say this can't get up to the 50 MA. We shall see. As I said, it's up at those pivots. We'll see what the reaction is in this area. Sharing thoughts here. And so backing off a little bit, Spiders, you can see the same thing there. Gapping, it was gapping up. Now, where is it? Coming back in to open up, unchanged. There's still 20 minutes to go before the open. So this can jiggle around. It's on this pre-market support. And you look to the left, you see the resistance there. So it's reached its destination. And that would suggest either pulling back or going sideways and chopping around, which it may do, waiting for tomorrow's news. And we'll see what the reaction is. So, and today, I think a higher probability of a chopping around day and testing support or creating support. And then depending on what that news is tomorrow, it could be, lift off again into this void above, or it's going to go down here and test. Today, it's the unknown as far as, is it most likely to consolidate that gain? Yes. When the news comes out, which way will it go from there? We'll see what's happening tomorrow. This did not get down to that major support level. The Qs did, so that lifted off. And there's plenty of overhead resistance, up above. We'll see how it plays out. Qs, that got down to that major support level and it's bounced up. It got hit much worse than the others. It's still in the lower third of the bearish wide range bar, gapping up a little bit. This I can take away since that void has been now closed. I could have. Let's do this. Yeah, just bring it back and bring it down here. And we'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right. SPX, our top number, got tagged yesterday. But as I said, look, as things start to move, and they did start moving, higher in the morning, as I said, common sense. You wait. And this thing was like, taking off to the upside, in the morning. Consolidating starts moving up. So in the green room, I know someone mentioned and asked, okay, what do we do as far as the call side? And I said, 50.90 looks, doable, since it was up above here. So a little common sense, nothing, proprietary. Just looking to the left, looking at the premiums and just say, what, is the probability after a move from here to here likely to get to whatever the strike is you're looking at. So today, just double check here. Yeah, things come down a little bit here from what I wrote. So now these things move fast. After yesterday, they moved up 1.5. And now we look where that lines up. Great. Up at the 50 MA. So end the declining 20 in an area of resistance. Good line of defense there. And let's call S1 50.10. Under, decent amount under yesterday's low, and with a bias that today is going to consolidate up here. I don't think there's much reason for it to fall all the way back down to yesterday's low today. Of course, you never know. There's a couple of auctions at 11:30, 17-week, 2-year, and the 5 years at 1 o'clock. We'll see. But I certainly think the top number, since prices have moved up that far already and that resistance is safe. And looking around the markets, transports up at the 200 MA, minor resistance. most likely reached its destination for now, unlikely to go too much further if it can do that. Yeah, the Dow, this, this had that nice consolidation there to move up from. It stopped at this minor area there. Look how well the 20 is under the 50 here. So just a display, a visual aid of the relative weakness the Dow had shown, but it showed some relative strength, which is often the case when things turn around, that the weaker turns out to be the stronger. Up into resistance. Makes sense. It's stalled. IWM coming up to minor resistance. Yesterday we looked at the futures in the morning. You see my my artwork there, and I showed you the downside shakeout and the consolidation that was going on, and pointed out that this looked like the best to move up higher toward this resistance area. Didn't quite get all the way there, but hey, it moved up well enough before it started to stall. Just pretty basic stuff. Bottoming action. We call this a downside shakeout because it's relatively flat and it spikes down and spikes back up again. Some might call it a head and shoulders bottom and a neckline, and call it whatever you want. There was a void above and it suggested it was going to go higher. And you had, the banks that were doing well, and they've spiked up quite strongly after this breakdown, relatively deep, but into a mess now. So that's likely to stall, suggesting, again, the markets won't do too much today. Financials, up against this minor resistance area, pointing us in the same direction. And KBE, KBI, not doing too well. Had the potential to pop up there like everything else, so that showed some relative weakness. XLK, technology, clearly a lot of weakness, you giant rounding top. So you start to think that, this market is out of the woods. This suggests it is not by far. And you can see SMHs, same weakness into the gap fill there. And interest rates here up a little bit, just hanging out, but disregarding what this is a chart of. And this morning's gap up, bullish for interest rates, bearish for the broader markets. Economic reports coming tomorrow, but which is probably, this is not going to do too much before those numbers come out, but bullish price action after getting extended. Crude oil, you can see it dip down to support, just kind of messy with this topping tail, but holding up there. Waiting to see if the next shoe drops over there in the Middle East. And by the way, Alex, that was a great interview on Tucker about the Ukraine. Amazing stuff. This is how this guy finds out this stuff. Did you listen to I think it was posted last night about this fella going down to Panama? It's just incredible. We all have to be grateful for Tucker Carlson. Weaponized immigration. Man, there's even a freaking word for it. Crazy. Bitcoin, spring is being wound. It's in the middle of the range. Nothing much happening there. Dan, I don't know about something related to this as far as an iron condor. It's in the middle of the range. I don't know, GBTC or something that looks like it. Just a thought as I'm looking at this.
The problem is they aren't optionable.
Okay.
But yeah, well, I'll keep an eye on them, the underlying stocks.
XLE, coming up regardless that oil is, hanging down there. If oil starts perking up, this should accelerate. And OIH is down here at these converging MAs. Had a good day yesterday. That looks like it continue to go higher. And what else here? Let's just take a quick look at some of these inflation things. This is still in an uptrend. Commodities, still an uptrend. Looks like it's going to go higher. Oil still holding up relatively well. So as well, we get this little reprieve happening in the markets, I think there's more downside to come. So keep that in mind. All yours, Dan.
All right, yeah, let me post this to our advisory letter, the OIH. We already have, well, we have a posted position, the ETF trader. Oh, debit spread watch over the high. And we have two sets of put spreads on OIH, one for Friday, one for next following Friday. So that looks fantastic. Daily, weekly, multi-abute. I mean, there's so many concepts here. Buy setup, converging moving averages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bar turn, buy setup weekly, price void. It's beautiful. So put it in all three letters.
Showing your charts, Dan?
Oh, shoot, sorry. I am not. I was busy updating OIH and started talking. All right, there you go. So I'm not going to repeat it. Everything I said, you can visualize right here. I don't want to waste time. Roll on YouTube, AVDL. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Bullish daily, weekly. It's sloppy buy setup, sloppy little bull flag. Set an alarm 18:15. For our open positions, we did an amazing job loading into shorts. We had a rocking week last week on all three of our advisory letters, and then today's Wednesday, starting Monday. We were tightening our stops, started getting bullish, so we're managing the longs and the shorts here. Gaps. The only one I have gapping up is this earnings trade. I said yesterday in the green room, 1, 2, 3, after a climo, major support, 200. If it opens flat to up a little bit, then this is a great 1, 2, 3. Now, was up here at 87, now to 86. So that is absolutely ideal. If this opens at 86, chops around for a while, holds above the 20 here, minor support. This is a beautiful 30-minute high trade for directional and put spread. So that's a tier 1 for me, tier 1 gap right here. So it's in the middle chart. Let's look at other earnings here. Tesla. All eyes were on this yesterday. Now, things like just, my vanilla approach, things that get clobbered into earnings, they're priced. They're priced for a lot of bearish activity. We know Tesla's off 50% from its highs. It's the worst thing. And so I was biased to sell a put spread. I forget the numbers. You could have got over $1 for the 120s, $24 away. But now gapping up to 160, big gap. So my bias on this, Don, it reminds me of something you and I were stalking the other day, maybe UNH earnings gap, but both for a day trade short and call spread 30-minute low. It's my initial bias for a day trade. surely wouldn't be looking to buy this thing up here. Are you kidding me? Gapping to here? No void? Not me. This little soon is not earnings, but it was on my list from yesterday. This is gapping up, SOUN. All right, back to earnings, CQT. Top, it's range bound, top of the range, nothing to do, bearish gap. If it can hold, this level and chop around for a couple more days, could be a weekly breakout, but you know what? I got enough to watch. I don't need that one. SPX. I was considering a put spread yesterday. Wow, look at the volume into earnings. They were happy to buy into that. EMPH. We did a short strangle. I think we did the 140s and like the 84s or whatever it was. So we're gonna have beautiful open gain at the open because strategies like this so far away that as long as you don't get a catastrophic gap, then you're going to make all that volatility crush. All right, Visa. Alex, I'm not sure what you meant with a V, gap from a V. I mean, that's more of a breakdown failure. Gap in the 282. There is a void above. So see this, I know I'm looking at V. I know, that's what I'm looking at. So this big gap, as opposed to Tesla, is superior because it's gapping over all this and it has a void and it's holding better than Tesla pre-market. So this one, my default is 30-minute high because I don't know what it's going to do. But if you're in the green room with us, we put it in a 5-minute chart and we stock it as a gap trade. So that could be a day trade long if it sets up, and also foot spread, sure. Texan 176. Let's see, this one I don't like at all. Gap into the top of the range, and it's an excessive gap. This is more of a call spread idea, 30-minute low. Yeah, I'm not saying it's not done. Of course it is, but at least from a swing, I miss the bus, so I don't chase. But yeah, day trade 30-minute high, stop under the 15-minute base. That's fine. Mattel gap into resistance, no interest. Vilto, they were buying that into earnings. Looks like it's opening flat. I'm surely not buying it after that big move. RRC, no great pattern. That's the one we talked about. I like this. See, now it's back to 87. I was hoping it would stay at 86, but see, even 87 is not excessive with this big void. But if it becomes a gap and go, then I don't have the setup that I recognize. I don't see any volume, but it shows it gapping up. We'll come back to it. This would be a great put spread idea, the 31s, if it's opening flat or up. This chart, yeah, CNI, I was saying yesterday, so many of these railroads and many others, they give me a headache looking at that pattern. So I got zero interest in that. SMR, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Here, I don't need Tesla. I have it in the other computer. Sure, buy. Let's see, when we use a 2-minute high, 5-minute high, 15, 30, that's a function of how aggressive do you want to get on board, and is the market iffy, or whatever. This is good to go over a 5 minute high. Closing breakout from this curling bottom, beautiful 15. That's by 5 minute high. Stop yesterday's low. I'll post that right now. Yeah, that looks great. Yeah, that looks good. All right, Pavel on YouTube asking me about TNGX above yesterday's high. Sure, bottoming pattern. But I like SFM. Oh, shoot, look at CSGP here. See that? So yeah, the gap's messing us up. And I said if it lunged. So it's just a different pattern, Pavel. This is a bottoming pattern with, yes, this is your intelligent entry. But SMR is better because just look at the relationship of the moving averages. So I think this has superior odds myself. All right, where did I leave off? Learn 65, gap's too big. AGR will come back. Matador, I like. Buy setup. I had this in my weekend research. I scanned all the OIH stocks since that was a nice sector. Um, so this is not bad. It's a buy setup at the 50. Charlie Bravo is a sloppy sell setup. Oh, it shows it down $11, but there's no volume. We'll come back to that. ZWS, talk about those. I just had an alarm DXYZ. I had an alarm at 31. You know, not going to rush, but it looks like it's trying to make the turn there. Cref, bottoming pattern. Man H, 214. That's a big gap down. APAM, if it opens flat, it'd be a $42 put spread, 30-minute high day trade. Visor, ugly bottoming pattern, gapping down. That's breakdown, daily, weekly, monthly. If it is opening down here at 33, 30-minute low short on VICR. Looks horrible. Yeah, it's kind of a bear flag. Yeah, a little bear flag there, Alex. All right, IGV alarm. We are short this. Tyson alarm. All right, this one's gapping under the stop. So let's get out on a bounce. Let me see what we have for long puts. We sold some in a beautiful gain yesterday. We had the 59 calls. Oh, so we're still at a profit because we got $1.50 of intrinsic value. So let's just sell this thing on this bounce here. Let me type it out. See how that wasn't even on my radar, but my alarm went off and I immediately can look at it and make an on the spot Johnny adjustment, get us out. EW, low alarm. Home Depot, low alarm, shoot. Rexer, low alarm, shoot. Man, ECVT, low alarm. I had 4 low alarms in 10 seconds.
Fixer at almost negative 1,000 and AD line plunged to minus 1,000.
CBRE, just trails stopped out. Man, and we just sold. What is going on here with my alerts? Who up alarm? Oh, good. That one's a pleasant one. Wow. And I mean, all these low alarms went off. And yeah, IWM and diamonds are wigging around, but it really doesn't justify all these low alarms. I guess let me go through them one by one. So we got a nice gain on Tyson. CBRE. All right, look, Greg, look at this. I got us out. I got us out right into the open for a half lot right there. Wow. Or third lot. All right. Let me focus on things that need attention. Oh, finally. This has been dead money for a while, but finally, even as a new trade, this looks fantastic. Made that nice turn on 30-minute high. So now we can move the stop. Last week's low, like 430. Well, I'll worry about later. ECVT. All right, that's an early alarm, so that's we don't have to do anything yet. But bearish gap 50% in yesterday's bars. Well, warning sign. Rexer. Stop. Stop was 41.78. So that was an early alarm also. I'll set it at 42.50 now. Tesla, keep an eye on call spread, I mentioned. Look, gap in resistance in the 20. Let me see what the juice bar has for us. I'll go out to the 170s. 92 cents. So let's keep an eye on that. It's only 9:35, so I don't want to rush. All right, Home Depot. Wow, Home Depot low alarm. Oh no, we're not in this yet. Or wait, are we? Did I do it yesterday? Yeah, we did it yesterday. All right, shoot. So this is an early alarm also. All right, so we're not, it's not as bad. I thought we were stopping out of a ton of stuff, but these are just my early alarms going off. So we did stuff out of the back half of this. Let me move this to close. Yeah, I like Q at 30-minute high. Q is the strongest here. IWM recovered. Remember, Alex, you and I were looking at the horsemen and we said spiders and Qs have a little more room and diamonds IWM looked like they were at the end. XLF looks like the end of the move to me. Semis gapped up the AVDL alarm. Is that a SAM trade? Uh, no, that was the guy pre-market. We made over $1 on CBRE. We'll take it. ITW. Oh, and that was a pharma though. All right, ITW low alarm. We have a half lot. It was an early alarm. Our stop is 249.28. So it did not hit yet.